Hi Ruth, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Christina. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm ready to find out what you think about this one that I found on the internet
Oh,
this week.
exciting!
So it says, my inbox has been flooded with lots of coaches saying you only have two options. And honestly, the only two options that we have are take action and continue sitting on dreams and ideas.
Okay, so
What are
two
your thoughts?
options. Our two options are taking action or sitting on our dreams.
Yeah,
Okay, so I totally get what she's saying about having lots of emails from people saying there's only two options. You have to do this or this, and actually, you know, there's always more than two options. There's always more than two ways to run a business, right? You don't have to make a choice between whether you do Facebook or Instagram. You don't have to make a choice about whether you're gonna do in-person events or networking. Like, there's lots of choices that you can make in your business, and you can design your business in a way that works for you. And I think anyone who is telling you that there's no alternative other than one of two paths is probably uh, telling you a porcupine, really, because we know that there's lots of different ways that we can skin the cat, right? But are you sitting on your dreams or are you taking action? I think is really interesting, because it's very easy to create the vision board and set the goals and kind of have these grand visions, but nothing is going to happen until you actually do something with it. You
yeah,
can procrastinate on something for months, for years, if
there's
you wanted to.
lifetime.
A lifetime, exactly. But if you procrastinate, the only guarantee is that it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
So I would say, like, this this kind of summary of this is essentially like the take the imperfect action, isn't it? It's like,
yeah,
you've got to
fail
get
fast.
started. Yeah, you've got to get started somewhere. You've got to be willing to fail. You've got to be willing to fall flat on your face, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start again. And if you're too scared to take that first step and actually do something and take the action, then yes, you're essentially sitting on dreams and ideas that are not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And
Um,
also, you just lack that real perspective on things, don't you? It's a bit
yeah.
like my parenting before I actually had children.
Oh yes,
Been
I was an
going
amazing
on.
parent. Yeah.
That was amazing. Now I have to, I'm a really good parent of teenagers as well, still, you see, because we've
Of
not got
course
to
you are. Yeah, of
that
course
age.
you are. Yeah.
But like my parenting in real life with my own kids, now they're actually here.
Yeah.
Questionable, not
Yeah,
phenomenal.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it's that thing of like life isn't theoretical, business isn't theoretical. We've talked before about, actually, we're not selling information, we're selling action. And I think this is where that is the distinction between somebody that's going to succeed and somebody that's not. Is
Yeah,
actually, are you going to put in the work? And I know we've talked about this before. It's like, you have to choose your hard.
yeah,
Whichever path you take, there's going to be challenges along the way. Sitting on your dreams and like doing nothing is hard because you're trapped.
yeah.
Yeah.
The reason it's in so many emails is that it does help people take action because it's helping them. So you when you send an email to your client base, you're wanting them to take an action, aren't you?
Yes.
So you've
Yeah.
got to do that, compare and contrast. And
Yes.
people would rather stay doing what they're
Yes.
currently doing. It takes
Absolutely.
a lot to shift people from staying in this lane
Yeah.
to doing something
Yeah.
different. So if you're trying to get them to make that jump to do something different, depending on where they're at and what they know about this product or service, you've got to poke the bear a bit. And that's what
Yes.
that email's doing, and it
Yes.
works. And that's
Yeah.
why it's every email that this
Yes.
person's
Exactly.
doing,
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
it's poking the bear to try and get you to stop that inertia,
Yeah.
stop that just dreaming about it, and take the action. So yes, like I think there's nuances, there's a number of different ways of doing it, but from
Yeah.
a purely, is it a good marketing email? Probably, because it's worth
Probably.
the test of time, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's like, yeah, it's what you say, it's maybe it's becoming overused in certain circles. And if
Maybe.
something is overused, you blank it out, don't
Yeah.
you? If you hear something all of the time, you're just like, then it loses that
Yeah.
impact.
It kind of loses the potency.
Yeah, so it's got the potency because it worked, and it's like, is that tactic now dying a death? And a new
Yeah.
one needs to
will
come.
come into place.
It's a bit like our conversation on cornflakes.
Yes.
So traditionally in my lifetime anyway, buy more volume, buy bigger boxes of cornflakes, you get a value for money for the volume you get. So it costs you a bit.
Bulk buy, right?
Yeah, bulk buy more, save per item.
Yes.
Now, if you go into the supermarket, you'll probably find some cereal boxes where actually the price per volume is either the same as the bigger box on the small boxes, or that is reversed.
Yeah.
Because they've trained you for years to do that. So you naturally just do that.
Yeah.
And they've switched it around.
We're so conditioned, aren't we? We're just so
and they've
conditioned.
trained their customers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's purposely training people, but they've trained it through their pricing strategy to act in a particular way. And this kind of email is training people to take action. You know, you're trying to train your ideal client, that you do this or you do that. And so my option is good. So that's why it's effective. And people will act on that. But when people then start to realize, so people may start to realize, actually, bulk buy isn't the saving I always thought it would be. I don't have the cupboard space. I don't want to we have spare boxes of cereal in a different room to the kitchen. Like, do I want to do that if I'm not getting any benefit from it? So you'll start to see people's behavior sort of then catch on, and there's a bit of a lag.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting though, will their behavior change?
Yeah.
Because we're so driven by habits, aren't we? We follow the same pathways because that's how our brain works. It's we're looking for the path of least resistance and the well-trodden path with everything. If you can take decision making out of your day, then your brain's woohoo, I'm saving energy, we're feeling good about this, I feel safe, I feel happy. And it's so easy to, even when you know something is no longer true, to fall back to the old way and the old patterns. So it'd be really interesting, even though you're aware of the cereal being more expensive bulk buying, whether you still when that kind of consciousness of it wears off, whether or not you're going to go back to buying
cereal, I'm normally doing it I shop online nowadays, and I'm doing it in a rush because we need to get an order in, otherwise there'll be no food in the house, and then I will have to visit the shops with two small children, and that is enough to put anybody off spending too long doing their online
shop, absolutely.
Just get it done, get it delivered.
Done. And I suppose again it's a bit like New Year's resolutions, isn't it? We start with all the best intentions in the world, and we might start to change our habits and do things differently, but then 3 months down the line you've basically fallen back into what you were doing. Falling back to where you were. I've sort of lost track of what we were talking about now. What was this today?
There's the two routes, the black.
Oh yes, two options, black and white. Yeah, I mean, life is never black and white. There's always shades of grey. But I do think what we were talking about was the taking imperfect action. I mean, I once saw a post in a Facebook group and I found it hilarious, but also really annoying. It basically said people who have failed in business shouldn't help other people to grow their businesses. And I was just oh my gosh, so what we're saying is that only the people who have everything they touch turns to gold should be mentors, coaches, peer mastermindees.
I think those people exist, do you?
No, exactly. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've failed more times in business than I can even count. Even from micro decisions to massive decisions that have cost me, tens of thousands of pounds. So it's actually, I just it's funny, isn't it? It's
a rite of passage, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You have to be willing to get it wrong.
Well, if you're not doing things, then failure can be defined kind of quite broad, can't it? But if you're not doing things where some things don't work, then I don't think you're trying hard enough.
No, exactly.
In your comfort zone, and maybe that's what you want from your business. Rinse and repeat. But I mean, I personally would get bored with that. Interesting what other people's thoughts are watching this. So you've got to push yourself a bit. If you want your business to grow, you definitely
Yeah.
have to get out of your
Absolutely.
comfort zone and test new things. And the world
Yeah.
changes around us.
Yeah.
So things that staying the same and doing the same thing, a bit like that, you know, the dreams and ideas of just
Yes.
doing the same thing again and again, as the world changes around us, as people switch their pricing strategies on
Yes.
cornflakes, your same response isn't going to get the same outcome.
No, exactly. And I think, you know, I think that we're seeing that shift now in buying behaviors in 2024 and how people are engaging with offers. And, you know, the world has changed fundamentally from 2020 when online business just became this massive thing because of the pandemic. And now everybody is wising up to some of the stuff that they're seeing. And it's a lot harder now to do what worked 4 years ago and expect it to still get the same results now. So like you could be taking action, and this is like, I suppose, contradicting the idea of taking action or you're sitting in dreams and ideas. You could be taking action and still not going anywhere.
Yes.
Because you could be taking the wrong action. You could be stuck in the same repeated patterns of action taking, but wasting your time because it's never going to have an impact because the landscape has changed.
Yeah, I'm failing to learn.
Yes.
Like, so you need that inquisitive mindset, don't you? Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to try this. What if that worked? What if it didn't work and why?
Yeah.
And then you can iterate and iterate and iterate.
So actually, it's not about dreams and ideas versus taking action. It's actually about having the dreams and ideas and taking the action and assessing and analysing whether that action is making a difference and being willing to accept when things aren't working and like having curiosity to say, what if I tried it this way instead?
Yeah.
And
that's how I think you succeed.
Yes.
And you stay current.
Yeah, because the landscape around you is never going to stay the same.
Yeah.
Easy. All right, so summarising today's conversation, because I feel like we've gone like, woo!
As always.
So this is just proof, everyone, that this is completely unscripted. We find the quote off the internet, we have a chat, and we see where the chat goes. So today's chat, we started off talking about taking imperfect action, the fact that, you know, you are going to fail in business, that if you sit on your dreams and don't do anything with them, then nothing's going to happen. You're not going to make any progress. But actually what we've come to the conclusion of ultimately is that if you take the action, but it's the wrong action and you're not willing to change, you're not willing to be curious, you're not willing to experiment, then you're still going to stay just as stuck taking action as the person who's just dreaming and not taking action. So we need to be curious, open-minded, experimental, so that we can stay current and actually thrive and survive in the long term in our industries.
Amazing. Let's just go do it.
Yeah, exactly. Go do stuff.
Tell us if you agree, disagree in the comments, or if you found anything on the internet that you want us to discuss.
Amazing. We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.